There are 5 high schools in the Houston County school system. The board is considering consolidating the 5 into 2 or 3 high schools. Board members contend educating today's students is becoming more expensive.
We're going to meet the demands that are put on us. We have to get more of the students together so we can have fewer personnel teaching those courses.
Crowley says there are advantages in consolidation because larger schools can offer students more courses, but one county resident disagrees.
With the large school, there are advantages, but the advantages are for the few on the top end of the scale. The advantages are lost for the middle students and for the lower level students who get kind of lost in the shuffle.
Board members are stressing the fact the project is still in the planning stage, and even if consolidation is approved, it won't happen overnight. Scott Edcock, WSFA TV News, Dothan.
Michelle Henry, Cal McDonald, Laura, Donna Working, excuse me. Of course, she gets the plaque also, and then for the press and Will Trouble. Ward, Haney?
David. No.
There's David right there. There you go.
It's here at Montgomery's Maxwell Air Force Base, where Armed Forces Day is being celebrated today in Alabama. And what better way to show off your military skills than with a demonstration of what you do best? Demonstration is just a really good example of what every aviator really would like to do. It's a wonderful show, and they put on a heck of a good one for the civilian population. Before the Air Force Thunderbirds went up to demonstrate their flying abilities at the air show, the Army's Golden Knights came down to give the excited crowd, estimated at 20,000 people, a look at what precision parachuting is all about. This is Armed Forces Day. What do you think about the celebration so far?
I think it's great.
Why?
Well, I've been a part of the Air Force for around 30 years myself, and I think it's great.
The air show is just that, a show. It is just a fraction of what men and women in uniform do every day, training and preparing to defend our country. Armed Forces Day not only gives them a chance to show off their skills, it also gives us a chance to let them know those skills are appreciated. Craig Meadows, WSFA TV News.
On the whole, it was a good day for the Alabama Gas Corporation and possibly for gas company customers. First, the federal government ruled the gas company's main supplier of natural gas is charging too much money. The government ordered a rate reduction. That means the gas company will have to pay less, and that should save us about $20 a year for an average household. Secondly, the Alabama Public Service Commission approved a plan which keeps the gas company on the rate stabilization and equalization plan. That allows gas utility rates to rise and fall according to company earnings and eliminates costly rate hearings.
But I feel the company has, in good faith, along with the commission, come forth with a very good program in behalf of your clients to be implemented. They put a lot of effort in this. I think it's going to be a good program.
Company officials say the combination of less expensive wholesale gas and the continued RSC plan is a good bottom line for you and me.
We do not expect to see an increase in natural gas prices until January 1 of 1986, so at least 9 months away.
The new gas company package is good for 2 years, and officials hope the RSC plan itself will continue to work by keeping utility rates down and earnings at a profit. Carrie Gordon, WSFA TV News.
We're conducting a membership drive for the Association of the United States Army. They will do you a favor. All right, thank you. This is Lee Ernest. I'm calling from the mayor's office.
Thank you, Mary. If I'd known you were going to say such is that all Social Security contributions go directly into one of the trust funds which provide for retirement, survivors, disability, and health insurance. By law, Social Security revenues cannot be used for any other purpose, and surpluses in those funds are directed in federal interest-bearing notes. As the objective is helping keep families together and giving children but to their loyalty to the best traditions of American life. We'll have to deal with that. I'm sure that many have heard and may be concerned about the recent rumors of closing.
This commitment comes after many, many hours of we now have and enjoy. Today, we as citizens of new industries must be actively recruited and assisted in locating in our great, especially our older fixed city. We need to get out. I have served in various positions of business and community leadership during my adult life.
He may not look it, but Troy State outfielder Joe Allen is an old man. He's 27. Now, by most standards, that's not old, but by college baseball standards, it is. You see, after playing a year at Lurleen B. Wallace Junior College, Joe played for 2 years at Troy, from 1978 to 1980. He then hung up his baseball spikes. But a recent change in NCAA policy left him with another year of athletic eligibility. So at the ripe old age of 27, he came back to play the game he loves.
Well, first off, I wanted to see if I could do it. It's a challenge. I've always liked a challenge, and I've always been real competitive in nature, and I like baseball. It's been a good sport for me.
The Greenville native is affectionately referred to as Gramps and Roy Hobbs by his teammates. Teammates who know his age and never let him forget it.
Well, when he first came out here, we thought it was kind of a joke. He was overweight, I'd say 10, 15 pounds, and you know, we really didn't think he was just maybe a token player.
They kid about being the old man and him being as old as a coach, almost as old as a coach, and that type of thing. But Joe takes it in good spirit.
An unusual twist to this story. Joe was on the 1980 Troy team that went to the Division II World Series out in Riverside, California. So now, with a victory in the Central Regionals this weekend, Joe would have a unique opportunity to go for a national title again, 5 years later. So the prospects of winning an NCAA Division II national championship has Troy State's old man, 27-year-old Joe Allen, ready to give it the old college try once more. In Troy, Mark Thornhill, WSFA TV Sports. Okay.
So loosen up your arms real good. The first thing we're going to work on.
Work.
Obviously, you can't look ahead to the World Series. There's no tomorrow if you don't get through this weekend, right?
Well, you've got to win the regional to get to the World Series. It's not an easy thing to do, particularly with the competition that we'll be playing. And so we just go and play it one game at a time and hope we play our best baseball, and we feel like we have a team that's capable of that. And hopefully we'll be in Montgomery.
What about the opportunity to come back here and play in the World Series if you can get there playing before your home crowd? What kind of feeling would that be?
I think it'd just be the greatest thing in the world because we have an outstanding group of fans here in Troy. We have great support in Montgomery, and I think it'd be good for Troy, Alabama, Montgomery, and everyone's concerned.
He's sick, he has to go to a doctor and pay his own doctor bills, and that makes for a real good employee. He shows up to work, and he's working when he's there.
Out of the prison that day, so nobody in the state was within any danger. What we're going to start saying is phase 1 and phasing out well, we go right on to the supervised intensive restitution and the work release program. He said, I found a place in Boulder, Colorado I can write, and they'll let me know what to do. And so I didn't let him know. I said, go ahead and write them. He wrote them. He came back next week, and they sent me the same piece of legislation that was.
We still invoke it is 10%. We still right.
I have a question for Mr. Miller.
We've been with us for 10 years, and they were making the same.
Over 90% of that comes from somewhere else.
Off the Coosa Valley facility. We recommended that we would bring it, or we have the appeal come before the board for
More than 25 million Americans have high blood pressure. That's why today a few hundred gathered in downtown Montgomery to talk about the so-called silent killer. The Hypertension Conference brought together nurses, doctors, pharmacists, dietitians, and many others. A leading researcher of hypertension is Dr. Harriet Dustin, who says one of the biggest problems is the constant need for medication.
As far as we know now, if you have high blood pressure and you need to have it treated with drugs, you've got to plan to take those drugs until the end of your life.
Things are much better now than they used to be. The medicines have improved and high blood pressure kills fewer people. But experts are still reminding people to help themselves by staying slim, exercising, not smoking, and finally, not waiting until signs of high blood pressure are obvious.
Have your blood pressure taken, because the symptoms mean things have gone on quite a ways.
Experts here say there's not much chance there'll be a cure for high blood pressure in the near future. What they're working on are better ways to treat it, ways to make it a little easier to live with. Tom Foreman, WSFA TV News.
Minoxidil has been suggested as an alternative for resistant cases. Step down in antihypertensive therapy in an attempt to control that patient, or a beta blocker or some other adrenergic inhibiting agent, instead of labetalol. The ACE inhibitors, captopril, and the second generation drug, enalapril. What is not on this slide is the fact that a host of other agents, the central alpha.
Last October, Enterprise Police arrested Billy Moody for a routine traffic violation. When authorities ran his name through a police computer, they discovered an outstanding felony warrant against him in Texas. It was then his latest ordeal began. The Vietnam War left Billy totally disabled. After being wounded, he went to Texas for treatment. It was there he got into trouble with drugs and the law. Since his 1976 drug arrest, Billy has lived in fear.
You don't get much rest, because your mind's still and you're wondering what's going to happen, and just it keeps you up, it worries you, tires you out. But now, able to rest.
This article, which appeared in the Enterprise Ledger, brought Billy's story to the public. Afterwards, more than 1,000 Enterprise residents petitioned the governor on Billy's behalf.
And they made the decision that Billy Moody had suffered enough, that he had paid whatever price could be asked of him. And I think that the decision that Governor Wallace made shows a great deal of compassion for his fellow man.
Billy says he has no bad feelings against the Texas authorities. He just wants to go on with his life in Alabama. Scott Edcock, WSFA TV News, Enterprise.
He must support the hospital. And section here, Mr. Ron Williams and his team, and Mr. Jack Bailey, who has for years provided leadership here, profitable, and the more profitable they are, the more services they can have. Intensive people meet their obligations. Now that's pay the insurance. Just as the hospital almost closed with Tuskegee Institute running it, it will close with this group running it unless we support our hospital. It's important.
Right.
The diagrams have more than reading.
We depend on the legislature too for their support. I want to take you what we're going to start saying is phase 1 and phase 2, when they're working out well, we go right on to the supervised intensive restitution program. Aldridge, of course, he's changed his mind now because he came to me one day and said, Fred, today we have the lowest recidivism rate in the entire nation. Our rate of people, repeat offenders, 3 years after release from our prison system has dropped from a 64% in January of '83 to now 29% in this state. And that's something all taxpayers should be proud of because it's saving money. It's making productive citizens once again out of inmates.
This past fall, the Tallahassee Tiger football team advanced all the way to the state 4A semifinals before finally falling to T.R. Miller. Just another in a long line of successful Tallahassee football teams.
In fact, this town has traditionally been known as a football town. But not these days. These days they're not talking football here in Tallahassee, they're talking baseball.
And with good reason. The high school baseball team is now within 2 victories of a Class 4A state championship. And that has people thinking baseball.
It's unknown to a lot of folks. It is a good baseball town. It used to have a professional baseball team here. There's a lot of interest in baseball, and I think the success that we've had this year has created a lot more interest and made it an exciting year for everybody.
We did good in football. We made it to the semifinals, but we got in the finals in baseball, so maybe we turn it around a little bit.
What does it mean to you, and knowing that the town is behind you in this?
It means a lot to me. It makes me feel, real good, Cloud 9 almost. But.
In fact, if Tallahassee can beat Wilson High School this weekend and bring home that state crown, it would be the first team from Tallahassee to do so since the high school playoff system began.
We make the joke that the town itself and everything else is one of the best kept secrets in Alabama, but we do have some good athletes.
But if things go as hoped this weekend up in Florence, that secret will be out. In Tallahassee, Mark Thornhill, WSFA TV Sports.
Research on the Bradley started in the 60s in response to the Soviets' BMP. The first production vehicle rolled off the line in 1981. Since then, 1,900 have been delivered of the 6,900 ordered. The going rate is $1.3 million each. Although problems with the Bradley have been widely reported, including one article in the Army Trainer, which described how the vehicle sank, forcing the soldiers to exit and swim ashore. Today, General Donovan discounted reports of any problems.
I think that the only complaints, if you will, about it are from people who are not knowledgeable in what its mission is, what it was designed to do, and what it's not.
The Bradley's primary weapon is a 25mm cannon, which can fire up to 200 rounds per minute. It's also equipped with a long-range anti-tank missile, which is effective up to 3,000 meters away. The general says if Congress continues to cut back on the military budget, in the end, it's the taxpayer who will lose.
The total size of the program, I don't think, will be reduced. It's simply a matter of stretching it out. And when that happens, there are, of course, inefficiencies that occur. You start producing at a rate that is less efficient than at a different rate. You're not producing at the same rate that the equipment was designed to, the production equipment was designed for, and you stretch it out in time longer, so it means that the soldiers don't have it as soon, and also that the effects of inflation begin to make the overall program more expensive.
Lisa Walsh, WSFA TV News.
Much like the old magnesium flash attachment.
train comes by. Get your whistle out now, and I'm going to say all aboard, and let's blow these whistles.
Thank you, Charlie.
Have a kickoff party in Mobile and in Birmingham in the next few days. So we're looking forward to running a really statewide and alumni campaign and getting it all put together. We're delighted that you're here tonight. Many of you are workers, and we appreciate that.
This is prom night, that special evening you've been waiting for. Flowers to adorn your elegant gown. Friends to share that tense moment until someone asks you to dance. The band plays a familiar tune, and couples move to the music. So what makes this prom so special? Many of these people have never been to a prom. As Montgomery's special people with mental and physical handicaps, a chance to go to a dance doesn't come every day. But through the city's therapeutic recreational center, they can kick up their heels once a year.
We get excited about proms and going to proms, and they should too. So that's really the meaning of just recreation and fullness of life.
And the prom definitely had class. KLASS to be exact. A band made up of Auburn University and Montgomery students who donated their time and talent to the Spring Fling. A special prom for special people on a special night. Carrie Gordon, WSFA TV News.
I don't see anything wrong with our fans and our alumni, being impatient and expecting us to win every time we go out. That's the level, or that is, expectation is a big part of our game. And that's what they have come to expect. That's what I've come to expect, over the years before I came back. And so I expect to win when we go out. And I have to approach it that way, and I have to try to get our coaches and our players thinking the same way. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I want our fans and our alumni to expect that. But at the same time, we have to be in a position to look at things in a real way and try to correct some of the things, mistakes that we make, or things that happen or occur that causes a loss or causes you to have a year like we had last year.
In the top of the seventh, with the game tied 3-3, Philadelphia's Gary Maddox, a little pop-up, out into short right field. Glenn Hubbard, the diving catch as the score remained tied. To the bottom of the seventh inning, Bob Horner, double play ball. The new shortstop, Darryl Thomas, right through his legs, out into left field. Around third comes the go-ahead run. That's Ramirez. He scores. It's 4-3 Atlanta. The next man is Terry Harper, a ground ball. Past Darryl Thomas again. Dale Murphy will come in to score. The Atlanta Braves go on to down the Philadelphia Phillies 6-3. I'm George Michael for NBC News.
The ethics memorandum was prompted by an anonymous letter complaining that many department heads are using their secretaries and office phones to conduct private business, an apparent violation of state law. The local bulletin board contains ads using state phone numbers for items ranging from cosmetics to used cars. State Ethics Director Melvin Cooper.
The amount is significant, judging by the number of ads. I think the secretaries were right when they said they'd rather be doing their state work as answering telephones to sell worn-out lawnmowers.
State officials have also investigated and stopped a state employee from using his office phone and secretaries to do income tax work during regular office hours. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News reporting.
In my judgment, this is a conspiracy on the part of the Soviet murderers. There will be maybe 1,000 burglaries and 1,000 robberies in order to obtain money to carry on. I'm very proud of it. Charlie, let's take some pictures. I
Who is
also
the
would
executive
like to.
director from Jesse Ray's club? Would you come stand here with the governor?
And would you like to make a statement, my young friend?
Yeah, Larry.
God, it's worse. Prattville Lions. You told me not to mess that up.
Nation under God. Will you say that for me? One nation.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr.
It is especially gratifying to me to come to your fine school and participate in Honor America Day. Keeping America is to take advantage of the knowledge available to you. Carpenter or plumber, you can be as weak. You're absorbing knowledge unconsciously every day through conversation, newspapers, magazines, radio, and television.
Thank you.
And we don't know, and maybe we don't care. There's probably some of each. Some people find it.
Major Canning also made important contributions to ACSC. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Dick Swope and his wife Jane.
Congratulations, Colonel, and best of luck in your new assignment. Congratulations to you. Thank you.
Because we've got to go out and make sure that this plan works.
No question in my mind that Governor George C. Wallace has been the best governor education has ever had in the history of the state of Alabama, and I sincerely believe that, and I want to tell you. I also want to say there's no governor in this country can say that he increased teacher salaries by 30% in a 2-year period. That's a fact. No governor can do that. Thank you very much, Governor.
Governor Wallace, I want to thank you for your leadership on this bill, too, and I don't want to give everybody on this up here who's worked on this heart attack, but I will say that I think the hard work is ahead of us because we've
cuts off in July 1st, 1987. I hope that that clears up and clarifies the position of this particular bill because no, I haven't selected five people yet. And we have a great number of those who are on the bill that signed the bill. I won't call their names, but of course Glenn Browder here, his name appears first because he did quite a bit of work on this matter, and I want to thank him. I believe
Currently, the judges have what's called a pre-sentence report, which describes the...
With the Senate Bill 53, you're going
We have heard that these instances were isolated instances of abuses within the work release program. However, the members of Vocal feel that even a few isolated instances are too many. Concerned because violent criminals are being placed on the streets every day. Placed in the program and who's not. we feel like that you can't always predict things. And are these people members of the group? Everyone who cases on his by law.
I just heard that there was some problem, and I imagine they do anything that might affect them financially. When you read that bill, it's not saying all murderers. Even murderers can get on there. It just says people who are guilty of rape in the first degree, a sexual offense, sexual abuse, child molester, capital murder, more than one murder. Certainly the public's got a right to be protected from these kind of folks being on work release. Really don't know the total number of that. I want to point out this bill just prevents violent offenders and non-violent. And so if there's any opposition,
The Rising Hope program seemed more like graduation than a musical performance. For Michelle McCormick, the ceremony meant leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Michelle may have been a bit nervous speaking through an electronic device since she cannot talk. And for music therapist Lane Schwab, the ceremony meant seeing her students show the world they can learn too in a special classroom.
Help me, sir, he said, or the hunter will shoot me dead.
The children relate so much to music and they enjoy it, so teaching them is really an easy job.
Michael Jackson would gladly give up center stage for Winfred Bass. And when the song We Are the World was written, maybe, just maybe, Michael and Lionel Richie had these youngsters in mind. Lane, when the kids were singing We Are the World, you were crying.
Yeah, they are special children, and they have a special place in my heart, and they are the children of the world.
Kim Davis, WSFA TV News.
Cooperation that all our education agencies have given me as chancellor and all of them have enjoyed working together on many very close projects in these past months. Here with him on many panels and forums. And in this report, it calls for a system-wide coordination and involvement of the two-year college.
First, to review the current status and trends of engineering education, and second, to recommend future development and changes in engineering.
I expect to continue to be a player politically. I have been an elected member of the State Democratic Executive Committee since 1970. I will remain a member of the State Democratic Executive Committee from District 11. I'm not getting out of the process. I intend to be involved in the process and the affairs of the Democratic Party locally and statewide and nationally in years to come. I'm not getting out. I'm just taking a leave of absence.
Just how do you replace a modern-day coaching legend like Paul Bear Bryant? Well, almost 3 years ago, Ray Perkins found out as he took over the Alabama coaching reins from his former coach. In successive seasons under Perkins, the Tide has gone 8-4 and 5-6. Last season, some Bama faithfuls grumbled. But in fact, nobody hates losing more than Perkins himself.
No one hates losing more than I do. But at the same time, I can look at it realistically and see where some of the problem areas were last year. Look at it in a very real way. And hey, let's go to work and try to correct that.
Though last season was Bama's first losing season in some 27 years, Perkins sees a silver lining behind this cloud.
Prior to our Cincinnati game last year, that lost to LSU, marked a point in time. And that was the game where we said, hey, this is the starting of the true new era.
And with 2 seasons of the ups and downs of college coaching now under his belt, Ray Perkins is content.
But it's a lot more complicated, but the trade-off is, to me anyway, is what kind of personal satisfaction I get out of being involved with the younger generation, the young men that we're working with. And I can guarantee you right now, I'm very happy about the trade-offs that I make.
Mark Thornhill, WSFA TV Sports.
Think of it, 12 drivers, 70 laps, and a purse of $500,000. It'll all be over in less than an hour, and to a veteran like Benny Parsons, the stakes are mind-boggling.
You know, when I see those dirt track guys run 100 laps for $25,000, I say, wow, look at all that money. Now we're running 100 miles for $200,000. That's strong. It really is strong.
Like Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt, Parsons has been testing at the Charlotte Speedway and thinks the purse could take his sport to a new threshold. And Petty, who remembers making $750 his first year in racing, agrees.
Eventually, it's going to be able to be as big as the Daytona 500 or something like that, because it's going to be an all-star race. Even though the all-stars and everybody else runs in other races, it's still going to be sort of like an all-star game or something like that. So I think the prestige of it with the monetary end of the deal is going to make it into a big, big operation.
The public has responded, and a crowd of over 100,000 is expected. But both Earnhardt and Parsons agree that once the green flag drops, it's still the competition that turns them on.
Anytime they put somebody out there racing for that much money, you know, it's going to be exciting. But they got 12 of the best drivers in Western Cup Grand National Racing going for it, and it's going to be one of the best races anybody ever see.
From the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Jack LaFave for NBC News.
pretty good. That's your animal, isn't it? All right. You got your nose.
It means that the people in Montgomery are not immune to rabies. We're in an endemic area for rabies. We've had a lot of rabies in this area. There are 16 southeast Alabama counties that are currently under a rabies alert. By having our animals protected, that'll subsequently protect the human population. We have animal control, which is a division of the police department. They're responsible.
Top of the second inning, Chicago Cubs are leading 1-0. Bob Dernier is up at bat. Dernier comes through with a base hit, ground ball into left field. That will score Jody Davis. Behind him is Larry Boa. Throw to the plate is not in time. Boa safe at home. The Cubs with a 3-0 lead. When Dale Murphy loses the bat, he really loses it. All the way out to shortstop, where it's retrieved by Larry Boa. To the bottom of the eighth inning, it's 4-3 the Cubs. Claudell Washington is up. Claudell Washington with a base hit that will go to the base of the wall. One run scores, that ties it. Here comes the go-ahead run. Gerald Perry trying to score. Throw to the plate. In time, Perry is out at home. To the top of the ninth inning, the game is now tied 5-5. Bruce Suter in relief, working to Jody Davis, who lines a base hit into left center field. Leon Doran will score. Keith Moreland also came in to score. The Cubs go on to down the Braves 7-5. I'm George Michael for NBC News.
I go get it?
How big is she?
The entry fees, of course, going for research for heart disease, and certainly that's a battle we're winning, and we're pleased with that. And while we're doing it, we're also helping people, we think, with heart healthy and other rhythmic activities which do help the heart and help our health.
Two old boys was with him, run out there and grab the back of the collar like they was going.
Man, it's 5 points.
Pull the book.
watch him. He'll just roll it over onto his back, stop, there's two, there's one. And pull the aircraft up, pulling off in different directions so that they get a spacing to open their chutes. There we go, isn't that a beautiful sight? There we go. Got one open, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of them open the first time. Now, those are pretty parachutes. That's one, and you'll see him just come right on in there. Now he's pulling it down. It slows it down. There he is. Look at there. Isn't that? He's going to start his roll. He's going to do, there he goes. One roll right off the ground. 2 rolls, and he's gone. Okay. He goes straight up. He'll be rolling the aircraft a couple times while he's going up. Just kind of loosen up and show you his coordination directly, straight up. That's hard when you're looking right into the sky with no clouds up there, nothing to pinpoint. 2 of them, he stops. Oh, watch his turnaround, too. Oh, right on around. He just kicks in the left rudder and around he comes.
Alabama's law enforcement honored its own today. Police officers from as far away as Aliceville and Grove Hill stood at attention on the Capitol lawn, remembering those colleagues who cannot be here to stand beside them. But today's memorial service is not the last for Alabama law enforcement officers who have laid down their lives on the job. A year from now, Alabama will be the first state to place a physical memorial on state property dedicated to slain law enforcement officers. The memorial will be a bronze statue to be unveiled on this site, a sculpture symbolizing the loss of a police officer. The man carries the hat of a partner he has lost in the line of duty.
When time and circumstance allows some reckless individual who does not care for the gentle and the meek to roam our highways, take our loved ones from us, it's to the law enforcement officer that we look to protect us.
Does Jesus care when I've said goodbye?
For the families of these brave men and women, this is not an easy day. Wounds that heal with time can come open with emotion. We cannot replace their loved ones, but we can remember and say thank you. Carrie Gordon, WSFA TV News.
The participants began arriving early this morning, ready to float down the 8-mile course. There were those who came to race. But for most people, time really didn't matter.
To the party!
The rafts came in many forms, from the traditional store-bought variety to the original creations made with rope and inner tubes. WLHQ Radio has sponsored this event for the last 4 years. Staff members have seen a lot of people float down the Chattahoochee.
I think one of the most popular ways to come down the river is just with an inner tube. A lot of people, since we're so close to Fort Rooker, a lot of the guys on post like to get several inner tubes and tie them together and float down that way. Canoes are real popular. There's some pretty strange ones that come down. Some of them I don't think we'd put on TV.
Everyone agrees the main idea is to have a good time. That was obvious not only in the water, but along the banks as well. People enjoying a beautiful day in the Wiregrass. An estimated 5,000 people turned out today, and race officials hope that number will continue to grow each year. Cal Calloway, WSFA TV News, along the Chattahoochee River.
Timely band. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please move to the bleachers at this time. Opening ceremonies are about to begin. Thank you.
It gives us an opportunity to open up our doors and bring the civilian community in and the military families and give you the opportunity to observe what we're doing.
It's not easy to do. And I know he doesn't want to see that go by the wayside, but if you quit fighting. In the past 7 years, UDAG generated 479,000 permanent jobs, 467,000 construction jobs, and it retained about 120,000 jobs in distressed towns and cities. It generated over $500 million in new revenues. And you say that program doesn't work? I don't believe this.
Thank you, Congressman. Congressman Shelby, sir, we want to thank you for your work in behalf of our cities and towns and for taking time to be with us at our 50th anniversary convention. Thank you, Congressman. Now we move back to our special resolutions and call on Reagan Thompson for.
The Black Film Project made its debut in Montgomery last night with the film Sugarcane Alley. It's a film that's set in Martinique in the early 1930s and depicts the struggles and triumphs of a young boy and his grandmother. It's the kind of film that's not common to Montgomery, something the Black Film Project wants to change.
Now, the Capri brings quality films here, alternative films, foreign films, but in large measure, it has not heretofore tapped the black community and the black audience.
The group is called the Black Film Project, but Montezimolia says it's not a black-only effort.
These are quality movies that will interest anyone who's interested in humor, drama, comedy, intrigue. I mean, these are full-featured movies, some made by third-world filmmakers like Uzan Palsy, Usman Sambani, some made by American independent filmmakers like John Sayles with Brother from Another Planet. They're good films, they're quality films. Anyone can enjoy them.
The project plans to bring a wide range of films to Montgomery, from old classics like Imitation of Life to newer releases like Brother from Another Planet. There will also be feature films and documentaries, and special emphasis will be placed on children's films.
But it's an opportunity for black children to taste intrigue and taste drama and taste humor through their own eyes, okay, through the eyes of their own people as opposed to through other cultures.
I really found it very interesting, the identity crisis.
And an added feature of Black Film Project presentations is the group discussion, which follows every showing. Montezimolia says viewers can stick around after the movie ends to talk about what they see.
And so it fills a definite need, and people are excited about it.
Lois Russell, WSFA TV News.
For the next 3 days, leaders from some 400 Alabama cities and counties will be meeting at the Civic Center to discuss trends and problems facing local municipalities. Congressman Richard Shelby spoke to the League's Legislative Committee today. He says city and county fathers need the federal funding assistance programs that have been zeroed in for cuts and deletion by President Reagan in his efforts to control the federal budget and deficit.
I'm not trying to say here today that it's all the Republicans' fault or all the Democrats' fault, but I think all of us have to share a responsibility there. And then all at once we come in and say, well, we're going to eliminate revenue sharing, and we're going to eliminate UDAG. We're going to eliminate some other programs that have benefited the people back home. I don't think we can look back and turn our back on the people who pay the taxes, who need this stuff.
The most pressing issue to all cities and towns in Alabama now is the great probability of losing revenue sharing, which President Reagan has suggested and is pushing for, is the elimination of revenue sharing, which affects every city and town in this state.
These are just a few of the issues the Alabama League of Municipalities will look at during their Montgomery convention, which wraps up Tuesday. They say the issues not only affect how a local city or county is run, but its citizens as well. Craig Meadows, WSFA TV News.
Billy was a star football player for Coppinville Junior High and Coffee County High Schools. After turning down an athletic scholarship to Alabama State, Billy joined the Marines in 1966. 3 years later, a wound left him disabled. From Vietnam, Billy went to Texas. It was there he got into trouble with drugs.
Anything, you know, I get like a pain pill, with the hard drugs, to ease the pain. And it became, I became addicted to it.
Not only has the ordeal been difficult for Billy, his mother has felt the pressure also.
It's been real hard on me. I've been thinking every day what they're going to do with him. Every day I was thinking whenever they come for him to meet a little short trial. Lawyer Paul would say, call him and tell him he don't have to go to trial. I said, thank God, you got a good lawyer.
The governor acted after 1,000 Enterprise residents sent petitions on Billy's behalf. And if Wallace runs for another term, he definitely has 2 supporters.
I thank him very much. It's wonderful.